precious metals, bonds, and instruments. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa, and I'm here to introduce you to Reagan Rodriguez. Reagan is a futurist who teaches stratosphere wealthy legacy families how to become impact investors. Hi, Reagan. How are you?
I am doing better than I deserve. I was thinking I had notes here, but this is another one. This is the one where I have my notes. And then this, I looked and I'm like, oh, this one's empty. So I'm looking, and if it looked like I was pretending to read, that's what I was doing. So wrong one.
It's good to have the right notes in front of you.
Yeah. I'll even promote, this is last year when I went to the Driftwood Capital event.
Oh,
We
yes.
gave these away, and I really didn't take two. They said I could take two, so I did. I'm such a journal writer, so.
But yeah,
Are we ready? Or
yes, let's go ahead and kick it off. Yes, that would be great.
Awesome. So, speaking of how I forget things, last week I mentioned how I would go over my personal experiences with medium-term notes, standby letter of credits, bank guarantees, but I never did. And I didn't even realize it, Tessa. When you and I ended the show last week, as soon as I got up from this chair, I said out loud, did I go over financial instruments at all? And then I said to myself, oh, heck, I'll just watch it on Friday and see if I did. And then I had to listen to it, Tessa, twice, and then it hit me. I had totally forgotten. And instead, I went on and on about the draw schedule and funding on a construction project. So it will be in this order, okay? I do want to give an understanding of how I got to this point, because I think that's important. So about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I was working on a waste to energy project at the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. As you know, that total was 300 million, and I didn't have the 20% down, neither do I now, but I knew I could get a power purchase agreement that could serve as the collateral. So I had gotten the green light, and all I needed for the funds to be released was a 10-year power purchase agreement. So I had spoken to the Energy Puerto Rico Bureau and the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority, which is known as PREPA. And in that meeting, they had said, why don't we just change the 1 to a 2? And we'll make it even more secure for your investors. So I actually got them to sign a 20-year power purchase agreement. So at that moment, I had thought, man, my ship has arrived, right? Because by law, I'm allowed to charge a 2% management fee. So I remember when I was walking to my hotel in downtown Puerto Rico, I was on cloud nine, knowing my payout would be $6 million on day one. So then a few days later, it hits the front page that Puerto Rico had defaulted on their bonds. So that power purchase agreement was really not worth the piece of paper that it was written on. But I was so confident on this deal. I mean, after all, there's 4.9 million people in a small island in Puerto Rico where trash is an issue, and energy also costs a lot there. So I might have kind of signed and personally guaranteed on quite a bit of things. So here I was drowning in millions of personal debt from this failed waste to energy project in Puerto Rico. So what did I do? I made a bold move. Well, I actually compromised, and I did the opposite. I said to myself, let's drill for oil and gas, which, by the way, I knew nothing about. Right? My background's in alternative energy, and you can look me up online, and I'm known as that financier that funds green projects, and I even have a degree in sustainability. So I care about the environment. But I thought, nobody will know. This is just to get me out of this big debt. And plus, I said, I'll never do this again, right? So while I was down on my luck, I decided to chase a high upside play to, can I say, save everything. And I found this oil field in Oklahoma. And for those of you who are good with numbers, it had a discounted cash flow at 10% of 400 million, 5% of 700 million. That was all inclusive. And we were engaged with a mezzanine lender who at that time, they had a loan to own program in their agenda. And when 2016 hit, we had a $15 million line of credit. I only had 14 million of that was outstanding. And the group that I was working with had just drilled another successful well. And they not only didn't fund that, they took the well. They told me that the credit line was gone. So I started looking for ways to raise capital that were outside the box. If you guys recall, during that time, oil and gas could not get any traction at all in the capital markets. And I didn't want to do a bankruptcy. So what I did was I fought a rear guard action. And I did that for about 18 to 24 months. And it was a challenging 2 years of my life. And then I finally lost the oil field to them in 2000. Well, I am limited on what I can share legal wise. So here's what I will say. During that time, I realized that necessity is the mother of all inventions. And I learned how to avoid working with financial institutions. And I found a way to be the governing partner who sets and makes the rules for my own fund. And from there came the opportunity to advise global legacy families on how to deploy capital with impact, right? Not just return on investment. So from there, I was able to curate this private network of impact investors that I manage now. By the way, on a side note, when I said earlier fighting a rearguard action instead of filing for bankruptcy, that's actually a metaphor. For those of you that didn't get that, I was describing what is a prolonged, but it's a losing battle that is against financial collapse. So rather than an immediate surrender through bankruptcy, I decided to fight. And I fight differently. I fought by using desperate delaying tactics, which then was used to protect my interests and or my assets. So the financial rearguard action was me playing chess, kind of like the wallpaper you see behind me. And I did that to buy time. So even when that ultimate outcome, it appeared inevitable, it involved a range of strategies. So I learned how to draw out legal battles, which involved legal tactics to interfere with lawsuits that were then brought on by creditors. And what that did was it dragged out the whole process. And of course, it just increased the pressure on the creditors to settle. So rear guard, I believe, signifies God's protection against it. It's a provision from his people from behind. I remember once reading the story, I think it's in Isaiah. It's about an angel and God, and he acted as a rear guard to the Israelites during their exodus from Egypt. So it's a promise that God's glory will be the rear guard for those that follow his ways. So let me now get into what I didn't get into last week about bank guarantees, SBLCs. Look, I receive daily emails from people that have precious metals and they want to know if they can use that as collateral, whether it's gold or whether it's a precious stone. Sometimes it might be an emerald or some big diamond. And a lot of the times they want to send me some kind of a Dropbox or some password protected site. And I normally say, I don't want to see it. Okay. And then they'll say, no, Reagan, please let me show you this ancient artifact from China. And I will say, I don't want to see it. Okay. And I'm not trying to be flippant. It's more that we rely more on what their bank values that commodity at. So whether that is a precious metal or whether that's an ancient artifact, if it really does have value, then your comment to them, if you're listening to this, because it would be my comment to them or to you, would be, hey, take it to your bank. Have your bank tell you what the value and what either bank guarantee or standby letter of credit they'd be willing to issue you based on that value. So if they tell you, hey, this stuff has 50 million value, then a reputable bank, and again, I'm not talking about the Bank of the Democratic Republic of the Congo in Africa right now, okay? I'm talking about a triple B plus rated bank that would provide you something in paper, right? Something.
Right.
And we have a program, if you have a bank guarantee or an SBLC, where we can fund against that. And I want to be clear, because those of you that are watching this, we've all heard about some of these programs that with instruments, and in my opinion, I'm skeptical on them. I just think it's a little bit of a scheme. So we will put this in writing. We will not borrow against the instrument. We will not trade against the instrument. We do not call that instrument. It is a non-recourse instrument. We view this as kind of a minimum threshold. It is a way to weed out the good and the bad. And I realize we could debate this for a long, long time, whether it's the right process or not. But with the foundation, it's their process, so we respect it. Again, it's one of the boxes we need to check off. So it allows that individual or the entity to really not put their asset or their balance sheet at risk at all. Because although their institution might give them that SBLC, that at no time will we ever invoke it, will we ever call it. So in a normal situation, if you post that and there's a default, then you immediately call the bank, you call that line of credit, or you call that bank guarantee, and it's like cash. We do not do that, okay? It is a unique program in that regard. But obviously we are selective. I will tell you that. It's not many that we issue. And we have found, and I think and hope that you might be able to find, if you mention this to your clients or potential clients, those that really do have a true commodity and something that's not made up off of fake paperwork on their computer or what have you, if they really believe in it themselves, then your client would say, take it to your bank, and they'll show you that it does have value. So the first step is, if you're a broker and you're watching this, or you're a consultant watching this, I don't want to see the instrument right away. You know what you can instead do? Send me a balance sheet or a statement from the bank, or what I call a RWA, a ready, willing, and able letter from the bank saying, we're ready to issue this instrument, subject to the conditions and subject to whatever. And that's fine. We're willing, and we like to take everything in a step-by-step basis. So at no time are we ever at risk, and conversely, at no time are you or your client ever going to be at risk. So we attempt to do things on a mutual basis. We make sure that your partners are treated the way we want to be treated. And probably the last point that I will say, we do not have any problem or issue making sure that people get paid. Now, if someone brings a deal and there's several brokers and I see that there's 14 points they wanted added, I do kind of scratch my head and say, well, Why am I the last guy looking at this deal when I see a chain of 7 different people? But hey, if you bring me an interesting situation, and it might be, Regan, I need to pay a friend who introduced me to this, but I want to make sure that I get paid as well. So guess what? It is a total of 4 points, or maybe it's a total of 6. Whatever that number is, I just want to make sure that you get paid, and we're okay with that. We're very transparent. We want to make sure you get paid because we do value the people that bring us transactions. So Tessa, I think I covered the points that I want to go over this time. And I'm going to now, although I did go over everything this time, I want to share something else. If anyone that's watching this has had something unexpected that might have been disappointing for you, and as you know, Tessa, I had shared with you, I had that first thing this morning. Jimmy and I both had that. So this is going to be my public service announcement for anyone that is disappointed or discouraged about something that might have surprised you. How do I begin this? Let me say this. Every man or woman is tested the same way. Not by what happens to him or her, but by what you allow to touch you, what touches you. Every comment, every delay, every small betrayal. The untrained mind takes the bait. The untrained mind reacts. But those who are being forged, they learn the ancient art of remaining untouched. Understand this. The most unshakable men and women you will ever meet don't live with fewer problems. They have mastered the discipline of not reacting. That is the first lesson with the Underground Club, to walk with chaos and remain still. Imagine a life where nothing can, no noise, no opinion, no judgment. That's the life of power. That's the posture of the rare few who no longer beg the world to go their way. They bend reality instead. We live in this world, in this age of constant distraction. Every voice screams for attention. The weak react, the strong observe. And those who learn to stand silent amidst the noise, they begin to radiate an energy that the world cannot look away from. To be unaffected is not to be cold. It's to be so clear on who you are. And no external force is going to be able to rewrite your emotions. At the Fifth Avenue Underground Club, we call this command presence. It's what separates that common deal maker from that rare architect of capital. Because when you no longer flinch, hesitate, or seek approval, people begin to move around you. The rooms, the markets, the rooms within rooms, all of them bend to the one that does not react. Why? Because emotion is leverage. And the man who cannot be moved cannot be manipulated. So we train ourselves differently here. We are not taught to fight for control. We are taught to become control, to let emotion pass through like wind through marble, to think like capital itself, quiet, precise, unstoppable. When insulted, we do not flinch. When rejected, we do not collapse. When praised, we do not get drunk on validation. We remain still, observant, calculating. That is the state in which all great empires are built. You will begin to notice something. As your composure grows, the noise of the world starts to lose its meaning. And people will start to wonder, how is it that nothing seems to shake you? They will not understand. And it's not ignorance. It's initiation. Detachment is not apathy. It's precision. It's knowing exactly where your energy belongs and refusing to waste it on what does not serve your purpose. When you master this, you're going to stop chasing opportunity, and opportunity will start seeking you. Understand, control is not about domination. It's about presence, the rare magnetic stillness without a word spoken. When others rush to explain, you're going to let silence speak. When others react, you will pause. And in that pause, they will reveal themselves. Silence is the final weapon of the initiated. It's not emptiness. It's a mirror. And when you can stand in that mirror without flinching, you will see the reflection of someone that no longer seeks permission to lead. That is when you know you have crossed that threshold. You are no longer part of the crowd. You have entered the ranks of those that's going to survive. No applause, no validation, only that quiet knowing that you've truly mastered the game. Not because you've told the world, but because you showed it. And you said it without saying a word. Tessa, will you close us out of here just like you've been doing for 3 years? I'm slightly teasing you because last week you said we'd been working for 2 years. So I actually looked it up. It was actually January of 2023.
It was
So
longer. I had this gut
in 2 months,
instinct.
it'll be 3 years. And you have seen in the almost 3 years that I get discouraged as well. So if any of you think after hearing my initiation of stillness talk that I am a mental giant, I will say this. That last message was me ministering to me.
And me.
The other day, Tessa, I got a DM on LinkedIn from one of the greatest fundraisers that I know. Her name is Maggie, and Maggie raises funds for an organization called LifeNet International. They build medical clinics and they provide medical care in Uganda, in Africa. And her exact words were, if I can remember, she said, "Reagan, is the underground club also your ministry?" She put a question mark and then an exclamation point. And then she put, "Wow, you just walked me and all of your viewers through a gospel lesson." People, she said, misfind their identity in all of these places that never last and never truly fulfill. And I believe her last sentence, or kind of like that, she said, it's about who they are becoming eventually. So what I want to do is to answer your question, Maggie, I'm going to send her this video. Sometimes she watches these, but when it goes live, after it goes live on Friday, I'll send it to her. So this is a ministry for me. I need this just as much as anyone else. As a matter of fact, before you close this out, Tessa, I'm going to put this in the chat. We're going to promote LifeNet International because Duke Global Health Institute had published an article about LifeNet and how it improves lives for mommies and babies. So I just put that in the chat. Can you do me a favor? Put that link that Duke Health Institute did, and then you'll see they even mention Maggie's name and contact info at the bottom. So, okay, that's it. close us out of here.
I will. I just have to say though that absolutely you, even just today, I needed this conversation, and it's not from a financial standpoint or from, I'm not making the deals, but I think a lot of what you said can just be taken for face value of what that means in everyday life, which is what I love about your shows too. I learn something every show. But if you do want to find out more information about the Fifth Avenue Underground Club or how to reach out to Reagan, there is a button to join. You just click on that and secure your invitation and unlock the tools, the network strategies to raise capital and create the life you've always dreamed of. Reagan is an amazing person. I'm blessed and for 3 years to have worked with him. Now that we expanded that, I know we got the actual date, but I think you just have to take a leap of faith and connect with him and find out more, because it's an amazing opportunity. He knows what he's talking about, and he's making a difference in the world, from sustainable to all the projects.